So I'm building an Etsy scraper in Google Sheets, which is shared publicly. And for this particular video, I'm going to be creating functions that extract data from listings, such as the title, price, quantity sold, etc. However, I would say I will be doing only one of those data points in this video, which is the title. Now, in previous videos, I already checked that I can in fact connect to Etsy, and I actually was able to connect to a listing, and I was able to see that I can actually fetch content from an Etsy listing and bring it into Google Sheets. So now after doing that, the next thing I did was to actually find the title, find the price inside of the code, the source code of the web page. All right, so I did that in a previous video that you can always look at as part of this playlist. But I'm just kind of summarizing it here. So what I did is I came in here, I did a search, and I took the title from here. I pasted it, and I made sure that I could actually find the title inside of the code, and I actually found it inside of the JSON format, which you can see here, right, where it says name, colon. And what I did is I actually copied that over to Google Sheets, and I did the same for the price, but right now I'm just focusing on the title. So I actually copied that segment so I know how the title looks inside of the web page content. All right, so go back and watch that video and it'll be a little more clear if you haven't seen it. Now, at this point, I want to go ahead and build a function to extract this title. So the first thing is that I had to copy these two functions over from a previous file, and I'll just explain what this one does: fetch URL content. And what this one does is it actually grabs this stuff that I'm looking at over here, right? This page source of the web page. It actually grabs all this stuff from the listing, okay? The URL up here of the listing. So basically it's the equivalent of going over here, right click, view page source, right? And then taking all of this, highlighting all of it, going to copy. Just imagine copying all this stuff and then bringing it over to Google Sheets, right? That's what the function does essentially, right? But it does it programmatically, so you don't have, so it's not happening physically, right? Okay, so that content comes back to Google Sheets, and then I'm going to pull the title out of it. So the first thing is that I have to start writing a function to actually grab that title. Now, for simplicity, I'll just say extract title, but in fact, I'll go even simpler than that, and I'll literally make it function title, and I'll make the parameter the URL, the Etsy listing URL, and then I'll start building the function. So first of all, I need to grab that web page content, so I'll do var HTML. I'll use HTML to describe it, equals fetch URL content. Var HTML equals fetch URL content of URL, right? And so this will actually, grab all that web page content. Okay, now once I have that web page content, I then need to actually pull the title out of it, right? So to do that, I now need to build a regex. So I will say var title equals, and then I will say HTML dot match, open parentheses, and I'll start building the regular expression inside of here. Okay, but what I'll do to make it easier, to explain it more easily, is I'll actually build the regex here on the Google Sheet first, and then I'll bring it into the code. So now, the way that this works, right? Now, first of all, the regular expression will start with a slash, and it will end with a /g. Okay, that's a given pretty much, so I'm not even thinking about that. All right. just something that we need to put at the beginning and the ending. Okay. But what I'm talking about is what do we actually, the part that we actually need to build. Okay. So what we want, all right, is first of all, this is what's inside of the web page. And so what we want, I'm going to actually highlight that section, which is the title, and change the color and make it red so it really stands out. So this is what I want, right? I want that title that is here in the middle. I don't want this quote and the comma at the end. And I do not want this stuff at the beginning, the quote, the name, the quote, the colon, the quote. I don't want any of that. I just want the red section, the red characters, which are the actual title, right? Now, there are two things. There's one thing that we use in order to do this, and it's called a look behind. And look behind, I'll show you how that looks, is open parentheses, you do a question mark, less than, equal sign, and then open parentheses again. And you will put inside of these parentheses the thing that comes before the thing you want, which is in this case is the title. So you will put the stuff that comes before it, which is name, quote, colon, quote, close parentheses, right? So I want this, I want that, so I am not, I'm looking for this, right? Quote, quote, name in quotes followed by the colon quote. I'm looking for it, but I don't want it, right? That's what this essentially means. So find that first. And then now I have to put another expression that describes this title. Okay, that matches that title. And now I could get into, actually, first of all, I'll explain that we need to use these brackets. And we have to put something inside these brackets that describes the title. Okay, and I could get into doing A to Z, which means all capital letters, lowercase letters, so that it includes lowercase letters, includes capital letters, it includes spaces, right? And all of that different stuff, and commas and all of that. But there's a trick you can use, which is instead of doing all of that, what we will do, and I'll rebuild this from scratch, is you put the first open bracket, and then you'll use the caret mark, which is Shift 6 on the keyboard, the caret mark, and that means not. Okay, it means not. And then you put a quote, a single quote, and then you close that up. What that means is, as long as these characters are not a quote, I want them, okay? So it matches the title, because if you look at a title, that matches the title, right? Every character in the title is not a quote. Okay, every character in the title is not a quote. Now, the only time this may be an issue is if there's actually quotes in the title. So we do need to be careful of that. And that's why sometimes I end up with having exceptions. But for right now, I mean, look, if there's anything that needs to be changed or adjusted later, we can always do it. But this will, get us the title. So let's just go ahead and do this for now, right? So not a quote, and then plus. The plus sign means that there's more than one of them, okay? So there are many characters in here, multiple characters, not a specific number. I don't know how many. Use the plus sign. I don't know, right? It's infinite. I mean, well, not infinite, but it's multiple characters, so I don't know how many, so I have to put a plus sign, okay? Now, there's also a way to describe what comes after the title, but you actually don't need it, because the way it works is that when you say not something, what it does is it takes everything that is not that thing, and then when it sees that thing, it just stops. So it's going to stop right there. It's not going to do any more. So you can actually just leave it alone. Okay? And so that is the core of the regex that is needed in order to return this title, okay, from the HTML content. So now what I will do is take this text that I just built over here, and I will go back over to extensions app script, right, back to the app script interface here, and I will actually paste it in between a slash and a slash G. But what I'll do is I'll build it from left to right so we can really see it from scratch. So html.match, open parentheses, slash, right, /, and then I'll paste all that stuff that we just did, and then /g, okay? That's the expression that will return the title. Okay, you need a semicolon, of course. So this is the regular expression that will extract the title from the web page content. Okay. Now I do want to mention that although I did go through that process of really explaining and breaking down how to devise that regular expression, that with the help of AI, you could actually do this a lot easier. So what you could do is you could actually take this. You could have taken something like this and just passed it off to the AI and asked to devise a regular expression to extract the title. And in fact, you could even go to the source code and try to, get the general area where this stuff is. And you can probably copy a whole bunch of this HTML. You can bring it over to ChatGPT and ask it to give you regular expressions that will extract the title, that will extract this and extract this and extract this and that. And it will help you do that. But the reason why it's important for me to kind of break it down and show it to you is because sometimes they don't give you the exact right thing. And I mean, it helps when you actually understand how these things are put together, right? It makes a big difference if you actually understand, when you're going to use AI. Okay, so I do now use AI to build regex, but I was building regex 20 years ago, right, from when I was in college. I was building regular expressions. Right, so when I use AI to do it today, it's helpful, but because I understand it, it makes a big difference. Now, here's the thing, right? Let's see. So what we want to do now is actually execute this title function. Oh, hold on. And of course, at the end of the function, return the title, right, and save. Okay. Now, going to try to do the rest of this quickly because I want to wrap this video up within 15 minutes, within 3 minutes from now. So I will do equal title and I will have to pass the URL. Sorry. So first of all, I'll go over to Etsy. I'll just get the URL, bring it back over here, paste it into cell A1, and then I'll go to equal title, open parentheses, and then click on cell A1 and then press enter, right? And when I do that, I get a whole list of titles. So it's only the first one is actually the title, right? We do see it here as well, right? So you might be wondering, why am I getting all these results? And that's because there are other parts of the web page content that apparently have the same format, and they're showing up as well. So I will show you the quick cure for this problem. Go back to the code, and what you do is instead of returning title, you return title and in brackets 0. That means index 0, the first item in the array. So it will only return the first item, and that will shorten it to just the title. All right. Now, because that does happen sometimes, as a precaution, what I always do when I'm scraping is I do var title equals new array. So I declare it first as an array, which means that there's no reason for var down here. And the reason I do that is because in case it's not an array, right? What if it only finds one result and it's actually not an array? When I do return title 0, I'm going to be returning just the first character of the string, because that's what will happen, right? So this title 0, it works when you have a list, okay? And it'll give you the first item on the list. But had that just been one title, it would have given me just the first letter. Like, it literally would have given me the letter C over here from the word custom, okay? So I have to be prepared for that possibility, and you prepare for it by declaring title as a new array. All right, so that's it for this video. I just wanted to show you how to actually extract the title, build a function to extract the title from the URL, Etsy URL in Google Sheets. See the description of this video for links where you can join the email list, and you can also access all the files of this project. I'm Mr. Mark. I'll see you around in another video.